The strongest fighter in the demon realm and the perfect warrior from the 7th universe, who would win between Dr. Gero's ultimate creation and the 5th king of the demon realm, Dabura? The win condition for either fighter is just to kill the other person. With that being said, I'd like to ask if you could leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, as I really appreciate it. I'm just a few subscribers away from 1 million and I want to hit that pretty soon. When it comes to a topic like Cell vs. Dabura, a natural point of comparison between the two of them is going to be Gohan. However, I'm not convinced that Gohan plays as much of a factor into this battle as most people would generally believe to be the case. Since Cell and Dabura don't interact on any personal level and we only really have statements comparing the two, with Gohan being a natural link that could help us in determining who will win the battle, as well as for the sake of being as in-depth as possible, I'm going to go over Gohan and how he does connect to these two anyway. The big question is whether or not Gohan actually declined in power from the Buu saga to the Cell saga. You can honestly answer this question in both ways, that being yes and no, but for the relevant portions, the answer is yes, Gohan did decline in power. Daizenshuu 2 tells us that many years after the battle with Cell, Gohan had become a high school student. Due to either Chi-Chi's influence or him neglecting to train, his power hadn't changed since he was a boy. That might sound a bit contradictory to what I was saying before, where you can say Gohan both got weaker and didn't get weaker, but the important part comes later on in Daizenshuu 2. While covering Gohan in volume 37, it says that during the world tournament he transforms at Kibito's request. Because he couldn't gain power from anger and because he hadn't been training, he doesn't have the same battle power as when he defeated Cell. There are other ways we are going to make this consistent as well, but for now, the interpretation we're going to go with for the rest of this video is that while Gohan did not change in strength, he can't bring his battle power to the same level because he hasn't been keeping up with his training. In other words, while Gohan does have the same power level, he can't use it as effectively because he's rusty. I'm not convinced that this matters because Gohan is still stronger than both Cell and Dabura. For Cell, this is extremely obvious. As soon as he comes back as what people commonly refer to as Super Perfect Cell, and he's explaining how he survived in the first place, he tells everyone that he is almost as strong as Gohan. There are ways to combat this, and something I generally hear people say is that Cell did one-shot half of Gohan's ki out of him whenever Gohan decided to block the attack that he sent at Vegeta. But I think this is a case of Gohan simply not defending the attack properly. After he's hit with it and Cell is talking about how he's going to finish the fight, Gohan does comment that Cell's power had grown way more than he thought. So it's pretty simple. He wasn't expecting the blast to be as strong as it was, jumped in front of it and got hurt more than he thought he would be. Gohan also did obliterate Cell even with half of his power. I've seen some contention on this with Goku helping Gohan with his Kamehameha wave, and therefore it's not all of Gohan's power, therefore it's Goku and Gohan, and Cell was actually stronger than Gohan in the moment. But as far as I'm aware, Goku's not actually giving Gohan any power in a literal sense where he is transmitting ki over to him. He's giving Gohan power in the form of encouragement and telling him what to do so that Gohan can unleash all the power that he's holding back. There are a few guidebook statements I want to read that help illustrate my point, but just looking at the original manga, Goku is behind Gohan here in his base form, and when we see him talking from King Kai, he's also still in his base form. I think if Goku truly wanted to help Gohan out, he would probably do it to the best of his ability, meaning he would be in Super Saiyan. It's also very uncharacteristic of Goku to want to jump somebody. He's very interested in one-on-one fights, and even if you say that Goku felt bad and realized the error in his ways whenever he sent Gohan out to fight Cell, the correction to that was not going to be him fighting alongside Gohan because Gohan doesn't like to fight. The correction was going to be Goku going down to fight Cell and do what he is originally intended to do. For those reasons, I don't think that Goku was lending Gohan any ki during the beam struggle and was instead just lending him the words of encouragement for Gohan to draw out his full power. And a couple guides back this up. Dragon Ball Forever says when Gohan gives up fighting back, Goku gives him the words of encouragement from the afterlife, saying you can win. Daizenshuu 2 says, it looked like Gohan was being pushed back by the Kamehameha that Cell fired, but with Goku's advice he unleashes all his ki in one burst. Daizenshuu 2 goes on to say, before Gohan, who had let loose his true power, Cell quickly found himself no match. Having lost his perfect form to Gohan's attack, Cell tries to kill Gohan and take out the earth by blowing himself up. Realizing the danger, Goku transported Cell to Kaio's planet. Goku's caught in the explosion and dies. As everyone is gripped with sorrow, Cell, who managed to revive into his perfect form, once again comes after Gohan. Gohan injured his arm protecting Vegeta, but with Goku's encouragement, he defeats Cell. Daizenshuu 2 also says, a heartbroken Gohan is encouraged by Goku in the afterlife. In his Kamehameha struggle with Cell, he puts forth his strongest power. The super exciting guide says, even after the self-destruction, Cell revives. When despair shrouded the earth, Goku's voice inspiring Gohan echoed from the heavens. With his father's wish at his back, the Kamehameha of Destiny is unleashed. The super exciting guide also gives elaboration on what might be meant when they say Goku's power helped Gohan. In the description for the father-son Kamehameha, it says, this is the proof of the power and bond inherited from Father Goku. Gohan's special move, the Kamehameha, is also Goku's most skilled technique. It was taught by his father and was a technique filled with wishes and expectations, even used to defeat Cell. I would be disingenuous, however, if I told you that there was absolutely no reason to believe that Goku gave Gohan power from the afterlife. Another statement from Daizenshuu 2 reads, the greatest and most powerful Kamehameha produced from the power of Gohan's anger and the power of Goku, who had died and gone to the afterlife. In contest with Cell's final Kamehameha, Gohan had injured one of his arms, but borrowing power from Goku in the afterlife, it vanquishes Cell. Considering I've also used statements from Daizenshuu 2 to help back up my point, I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying this statement is randomly wrong in the middle of Daizenshuu 2. I just don't think that when it says Gohan borrowed power from Goku, that it means he borrowed his ki in a literal sense and is more so talking about those words of encouragement. I probably went way too in depth on why Gohan is stronger than Cell anyway. I doubt most people even disagree with that. Gohan being stronger than Dabura, in my opinion, is a lot less obvious, but still clearly the case when you read the manga. Circling back to Gohan being an overall worse fighter, it's clear that the better fighter in this fight specifically is Dabura. While Gohan starts the fight off with multiple jabs and is able to kick Dabura away at will, whenever Dabura starts using his techniques that don't require straight up power and tricking Gohan, he's able to land clean on him. But when he uses a sword, Gohan's able to catch the sword with his hands, and not only that, but break it as well. Like I said, this interaction is only around 6 pages in the manga, but from these 6 pages you can draw a lot. From the first 2 pages alone, you can see that Dabura is no longer going to engage Gohan in close quarters combat hand to hand, and he starts to use his magic and long range techniques instead to land a hit, and the next time he goes up on Gohan, he conjures a sword to cut him up instead of engaging in hand to hand combat. Supplementary material from the anime makes this even easier to decipher. There are multiple guidebooks that just straight up tell us Gohan is superior to Dabura. The Dragon Ball Z Dragon book tells us in episode 227's description, the one-on-one battle between Gohan and Dabura is underway. With his fighting skills rusty, Gohan has a surprisingly difficult battle against an opponent who clearly possesses inferior power. When Dabura sees how annoyed Vegeta is at how poorly the fight is going, he interrupts the battle and withdraws for some reason. Daizenshuu 5 echoes a similar sentiment. Gohan struggles against Dabura, someone who's inferior to him in every way, and Vegeta becomes annoyed at the display of their battle. The Ultimate Battle Collection again echoes a similar sentiment. In terms of sheer strength, Dabura is clearly overwhelmed, or at least he was supposed to be. The reason Dabura is able to keep up in the fight with Gohan is not only due to Gohan's lack of training and being rusty, it's also due to Dabura's magic. The Ultimate Battle Collection states, originally possessing high combat power, the most troublesome aspect is undoubtedly his magic. He can conjure weapons at will, and afflict enemies with petrification using his saliva. Goku is even able to pick up on this, stating that Dabura is tougher than he originally thought he was whenever he starts to use his magic. One thing that is true about Dabura's battle power though, a sentiment echoed in both Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Z Kai, and the original manga, is that he is around Cell's level when it comes to battle power. Daizenshuu 7 says the man who boasts the greatest power in the demon realm, a place said to exist on the opposite side of the universe from where Goku and company live, he had his heart manipulated by Babidi and became his underling. On top of having battle power equal to Cell's, he is also skilled in magic. After dying, Enma judged that the king of the demon dark realm, he would be happy in hell, and so he sent him to heaven. The Ultimate Battle Collections, a Dragon Ball Z guide, states that a formidable opponent who rivals Cell, having become Babidi's right-hand man. In the Dragon Ball Z Kai Dragon book, says that Dabura, the king of the dark demon realm and strongest in the demon world, possesses mysterious magic such as spitting a petrifying saliva and controlling flames. He engages in a fierce battle with Super Saiyan Gohan, who is evenly matched with him. While Dabura is as strong as Cell from 7 years ago, Gohan is lacking in training, so it's no wonder he's having a hard time. Goku also thinks this of Dabura as well, saying that 7 years ago there was a guy named Cell and they were about the same power. If Cell and Dabura are equal in battle power, their fight realistically could come down to just who is in general the better fighter. When it comes to this conversation, I would probably say that Cell is the better fighter. Dabura doesn't seem all too skilled in hand-to-hand combat. He does let Gohan just jab him 3 times and doesn't respond in any way, while Cell, whenever he reaches his perfect form, is stated to become the perfect warrior in speed, strength, and all other areas. He's also able to compete with Goku in martial arts, and Goku has been stated to be the world's best martial artist, even dating all the way back to original Dragon Ball. Even if you take the interaction that Gohan had with Dabura and put Cell in Gohan's shoes, whenever Dabura shoots this ball of magic at Gohan, Cell is a person who could just instant transmission out of the way and kick Dabura in the back. And while Cell never actually displayed the ability when he did go into Super Perfect Cell, we do have to remember Super Perfect Cell is just what we refer to as Cell when he came back. That is still just Cell in his perfect form, and he should have the ability to create Cell Juniors. The Cell Juniors, while not explicitly equal to Cell, in El Manga Legendario are stated to be around his level of power, saying that Goku and the rest of the fighters are about to perish in the face of the Cell Juniors, who are of similar strength to Cell. However, that's just referring to the manga. When it comes to the anime, the orange brick booklet does state that though they may be small in size, these fearsome little imps pack a mean punch. Spawned from the body of Perfect Cell, in terms of raw power and fighting prowess, Cell Juniors are equal to their father in every way. You might say that Gohan one-shotted all the Cell Juniors and didn't do the same thing to Cell, but we do know that Gohan doesn't want to finish off Cell. He just wants to make him suffer for making him fight him in the first place. Cell also did power up a little bit after the Cell Juniors were taken out, and according to Goku and some other onlookers, that was Cell's true power at the time. Cell also does have counters to Dabura's petrifying spit. If it lands on his hand and he sees his hand starting to petrify, Cell could just cut his hand off and regenerate using Piccolo's cells. Although doing this repeatedly would cause him to decline in power and probably would give Dabura the edge over him. This doesn't mean Dabura is without his ways to win, however. Since he does use magic, which is a form that Cell's never really interacted before, there's always the possibility of catching Cell off guard with some type of magic attack. You could also call into question Cell's choice to even use the Cell Juniors to begin with. While I personally think that's a good strategy, Cell does have a Saiyan's DNA in him, Goku specifically, and it is shown that he does appreciate a one-on-one fight. But whenever he's driven into a corner, we do know Cell will fight dirty. After seeing Gohan was clearly stronger than him, he said, "This doesn't mean that I have to lose and try to blow up the planet." So honestly, with their battle powers almost equal and Cell and Dabura having separate hacks that could turn the battle in their favor, you could really pick either one of them to win. But me personally, I'm going to pick Cell. I think that his win cons are not only better, but that he could get it over on Dabura because he is a superior fighter to him.